All right, you guys, so this is going to be our core foundations class today. As you know, everything we do at Wunda Bar is from the core and then moving outbound. So let's go ahead and start with a plank, and then we're going to move into a little sequence from there. So step at the top of your mat. Your hands are shoulder width distance like starfish, and your feet are going to come all the way back so that you're in a beautiful diagonal line. Collarbones are wide, upper inner arms are spiraling forward with a little breath in the elbows. We want to draw the navel up and in between the shoulder blades, lifting the heart between the shoulder blades, but maintaining a flat back. I'm going to ask you to keep that 4 inches of space between your knees and toes. You can kind of glance down and make sure you have it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into a little downhill ski. So what we're going to do is shift the hips to the left and the knees tip to the right, and we drag the pelvis back. That's going to be an exhale today. Inhale through center. Now I'm going to ask us to go up into a pike. So through center, we're going to exhale as we drag the pelvis back, and then inhale, return to your plank. Now we're going to swivel the other direction. Pelvis tips to the right, knees reach towards the left, and make sure you still have the 4 inches apart between the toes and the knees. Up through the pike, really reach with the pelvis. Don't just swing through the shoulder joints. Find that length and that connection through the deep abdominals. Now back to the other side. Normally I ask for a closed parallel with the downhill ski. So keeping that space between the knees, between the legs, but keeping things aligned with big toe, second toe is a really sincere challenge to keep yourself organized, not letting the knees tip inbound or outbound. As you go up through center, please really make sure, keep working on your end. As you go up through center, make sure you're reaching from the hips, from the pelvis, rather than sweeping from the arms. And same thing as we go into that downhill ski. Think about that dragging sensation, reaching you back, and then the length with the breath. So as we inhale and come back into that plank, that's a lengthening sensation. We're gonna exhale as we narrow around the waistline, coming to the opposite side. Inhaling through center. If you're evened out, go back into the pike. If you're not evened out, even your body out, and then we are all going to meet up in the pike in the center. 4 inches apart, parallel. Navel still draws at a diagonal in between the shoulder blades, and we're going to bend the knees, reaching the pelvis up, up, up. As the knees bend, it should feel really shaky. And then inhale, elongate the legs. Exhale, soften the knees. Try not to let the hips drop. So we're only bending the knees a little bit and then extending. You should feel a really deep activation through the core, inner thighs, back line of the legs. So you're finding stretch and reach, as well as finding a core toning and sculpting of the arms and shoulders. Last 2, gang. And this is going to be our last one. Exhaling as we soften the knees. Inhale as we extend, and go ahead and bring the knees all the way down to the mat. Let's go onto our side. We're going to go onto our left forearm and our left hip down on the mat. From here, think about lifting the bottom ribs, lengthening the spine, reaching the crown of head far, and then we're going to have the knees stacked and float the hips up off of the floor. So now we're in a diagonal line, and we're going to go into some clamming. We're going to do a clam sequence here. We're going to hold up and out like this. And then we're going to keep the big toes together as the top leg rotates into that clam orientation. And then we're going to exhale as we bring it back in with control. We're inhaling, spiral that inner thigh forward. Visualize the femur head moving through the pelvis. Exhale as we rotate it back through center. Inhale as we spiral. Keep lifting the bottom ribs. Try not to let those drop. Exhale as we bring it back through center. Arm can go up and overhead if that's a good challenge for your body today. Inhale as we open, and exhale, bring it down. Think about lifting that bottom hip a tiny touch higher. We're gonna open the leg this time. Open the leg into that clam position. Keep the thigh bone stable, and then we're gonna extend the right leg long. Bring the toes back together. They can be tough to find. There they are. Exhale, bring it back in. Inhale, go for a long breath as we extend the leg out. Exhale as the knee folds and we close the inner thighs together. Inhale as we spiral open. Keep the knee quiet in space. So it's bending and extending, but it's not wiggling around. Keep working on your end. I want you to use that inhale to open and extend, and then when we bend, that's when we exhale and really close with intention. So don't move from the knee. Think about moving closer to the core the whole time, lifting the bottom ribs and pelvis. They're really gonna wanna hang down towards the floor. So find that length in the spine the whole time. We're gonna hold the leg out for the last one. So we're holding the leg out like this. Now we are going to internally rotate the femur head and externally rotate. That means we're spinning the inner thigh back, the foot follows, and then we're spinning the inner thigh forward. The pelvis is not moving. You can use your hand on your hip to keep you organized, holding that leg up and out. Think about that inner thigh reaching longer than the sole of the foot. Last two, really building up some heat through the core and the middle back and the booty. And bring the leg back to external rotation with control. The toes touch. With control, the clam closes back up. All right, guys, that was great. Let's go into our circus wheel. So if you were watching Instagram stories, I found some inspiration yesterday. So my mentor, Kendall, taught me this one, and I thought it was so awful, I should share it with all of you. Bring your arms long in front of you. We're seated on the floor. Knees and toes are glued together. What we're going to do first is open the right arm. So my right rib basket is rotating to this side, and I'm reaching back. I am in a flat back still. I'm gonna lengthen with that flat back. That's called extension. I'm grazing my fingertips through the floor a little bit. Then the tailbone melts under as you roll down, roll down, roll down. Once you're no longer able to roll down, we come up and over, rolling up, and return to start. Now we're gonna go the other direction. We're opening the ribs and the left hand. In extension, we reach towards the floor. We roll down, melting the tailbone, melting through the spine, lowering down, and then we come up and over. So we're starting in a flat back. As we rotate the rib basket, we lean with a flat back first, then we start the roll down, magnetize those outer thighs, come up and over. It looks so easy. It's really awful. I understand that. I'm with you. Inhale as you rotate. Lengthen back with extension, the hands reaching for the floor. Then we add the articulation, rolling down, coming up and over. Let's go one more time to the right. Inhale as we lengthen, hand reaches for the floor as we glide with extension. Once you've been up, no more extension, then the tailbone melts, then the low back, middle back. We come up and over, back through extension at the top. Last time to the left. Inhale as you unwind. Hand reaches down, back extends, then the tailbone melts, then the low back, middle back, upper back, and all the way through center. All right, guys, let's go ahead and lay down while we're here, and we're gonna do some straight leg jumps. We did these last Friday, I think, and they're really fun and wicked to connect you to your core. So lay all the way down. You can always choose to have your hands underneath the base of the skull to give you a little abdominal curl like this. In my opinion, it also helps to protect the low back by deeply engaging the core. So this is a great option if it's accessible to you. We're gonna float the right leg up into tabletop. Float the left leg up into tabletop. Tailbone is heavy in the floor. First thing we're going to do is reach the right leg long. Reach the right leg long. And now what we're going to do is we are going to flex the foot like we're landing on the jump board with a straight leg. So now my toes are straight up to the sky. And then we're gonna imagine we're taking flight off the jump board. Inhale, and the leg goes up to about a 45-degree angle. Exhale, flex the foot and land. Inhale as you lengthen, plug the leg into the hip socket. Exhale as you land. If this is sensitive on your low back, you can always keep a soft bend to the knee and move a smaller range of movement a little bit higher up. You're still gonna find a deep core connection. It would look like this. Keep working, guys, just a few more here. Inhaling as we extend and take flight. Exhale as you flex the ankle and land. Last one on the right side. Exhale as you flex and land. Both legs return to tabletop. Float the arms up to the sky. I'd like everyone to have your head up and off the mat if that's possible. Tip the knees and the pelvis to the left. You'll notice my right hip picked up, but my ribs are still connected. I'm gonna pick up my left shoulder blade. So I'm now kind of in a corkscrew position, and I'm gonna go into an inhale as I do an abdominal curl. and exhale, bring it back. It's a small range of movement. My left wrist is grazing the right thigh as I pick it up, and then set it back down. We're going for 4 on each side. Inhale as you pick it up and lengthen. Exhale as you bring it down. My left shoulder blade is up the whole time. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, unwind through center. Try to keep your head up if that's accessible. Tip the knees and the pelvis to the right. Notice I still have 4 inches apart between the feet and the knees. Right shoulder blade picks up as we inhale and arc. You should really feel that sincerely through that waistline. Find that length. Inhale and lift. It's not about rising up high and crunching and wrinkling up the front side of your body. You want to keep that length, keep that tailbone reaching long. This is our last one. We're going to inhale as we lift. Exhale, unwind through center. Hands go back underneath the base of the skull. Give your neck some support. And we're going to send the left leg long. Flex the foot like we're landing on the jump board. Inhale, little hop. Exhale, flex the foot to land. Inhale, pick it up like we're doing a straight leg jump. Exhale, bring it back down. Inhale, bring it up. Again, if you've got a sensitive low back, we're simply doing a smaller range of movement with a knee bend, and we're keeping it up higher. Keep those shoulder blades off the mat if you can achieve that. We're going for 3 more. Exhale to land. Inhale, bring it up. Keep lots of length between the navel and the pubic bone. This is our last one, guys. Flex the foot to land and bring both knees together. With control, head goes down. With control, use your hamstrings and your psoas to return the feet to the floor. All right, let's flip onto our right side and take care of that clamming. So we're gonna have our right forearm down on the mat. Our knees are bent to about a 45-degree angle. And straight away, you wanna pick up your ribs. You wanna lift off of that shoulder and get your head in line with your spine. From here, we're gonna pick up the hips off of the mat. Keep the big toes touching as we swivel on an inhale to open the clam, and an exhale with intention, bring it back to start. Inhale as we swivel, think about lifting and lengthening. Exhale as you bring it back. If it's aggressive on your neck, you can always kind of gaze towards the floor a little bit. It's important to think about the back side of your underarm coming forward as we hold this position. Arm overhead increases the cardio challenge. Let's go ahead and add that leg extension. Hold with the open clam, continuing with an inhale, leg extends. Exhale, knee bends and the legs close. Inhale, upper inner thigh spirals open, and we deliver the leg long with the hamstrings and the psoas. Exhale, fold the knee, toes touch, and we bring the clam back together. Keep working on your side. Make sure as we start to kind of add the choreography with the leg that we don't let the hips and ribs drop towards the floor. So make sure you're picking up, lifting with length through the torso. That is an isometric challenging hold. And then we're adding the movement through the leg to lubricate and empower that hip for its best functionality. Let's hold the next one with that leg out. So you're holding up with the leg extended out, and we're gonna go from external rotation through internal rotation, but the pelvis is not rocking. So you don't wanna let the pelvis rock. You wanna visualize that femur head as if you were moving it like a doorknob through the dome of the pelvis. Let's go for 2 more here. Try to keep that pelvis really quiet. This is the last one. And go ahead and bring it all the way down. Okay guys, we're gonna go into a little Wunda twist sequence. We're gonna start with the mini Wunda twist and then go into a full range of movement. So bring your hands to the top of the mat, 4 inches apart, shoulder width distance rather, and our feet are 4 inches apart parallel. First things first, we're gonna take our right foot in front of our left and rotate the pelvis. So shoulders are forward and hips are to the side. Tiny lift and rotate, and we're gonna do that with a flat back today. And then bring it back through center. Tiny lift and rotate, and bring it back through center. Keep your head in line with your spine, and really find your pelvis as the keystone of the movement. So your shoulders, keep working on your end. Your shoulders aren't really moving yet at all. It's really the pelvis coming in a slightly downward rotation, a tractioning back, and a little baby lift. You should feel deep activation through the low belly at a diagonal all the way down through the waistline. So waistline down through the low belly, Let's go for 2 more here. Little tiny lift. Think about magnetizing those outer thighs inbound towards one another. Let's go into a full range of movement. Here we go. Inhale as we swivel up and back. Exhale as we unwind all the way into our twisted plank. Think about the outer thighs like bookends. That's going to help you find a deeper core connection, guys. It's not really the most intuitive thing that when we activate through the legs, we're going to find more core, but that's how you're going to find the transverse abdominis. Keep working on your end. When we bring the legs closer together, that's going to activate the transverse abdominis, wrapping all the way around the spine. That's an important stabilizer for spinal health, but it's also going to tone and draw your waistline in, okay? Let's go for 2 more, full range of movement. Collarbones are wide. We're lifting and reaching. Think about how we started class, dragging the hips back. This is going to be the last one. Come all the way up and back, rotate through the pelvis, unwind into that side plank, uncross the feet, and bring the knees down. All right, guys, let's rise up onto our feet next. So come on all the way up. We're going to go into a lunge. So I'm going to ask you today to imagine we are on a WundaFormer, or if you've worked on any kind of a reformer before, you've probably done an Eve's lunge. So let's start with that setup. We are going to pretend our right foot is on the floor and our left foot would be on a carriage. From here, I'm going to ask you to bend your right knee a lot. Your left leg will step behind you and tip the torso forward. So straight away, we're holding an isometric lunge. If this is a good challenge for you, you're going to stay here. If you're looking for more, we're going to mimic a carriage pull, but we're going to do it in free floating air. We're not going to have any tactile feedback for the left foot. So you'll notice I've floated the left leg up and off the mat, and I'm standing only on the right leg now. Equal the weight out in the sole of the right foot. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, we're going to think about the left inner thigh, bringing the leg and the carriage forward. This is an exhale. And then we're going to inhale. We're using the psoas with the left hamstring to send the leg long. That's an inhale. Exhale, the inner thigh and the psoas bring it forward. Inhale, send it back. Keep working on your end. You can always touch onto a wall or something close by to assist you with your balance, if that's more helpful for you today. You want to check that your knee is just in front of the ankle crease and behind the toe line. And if it's accessible, you can bring the right arm or both arms up and out for a balance challenge. Exhale as you draw it in. Inhale, send it back. I want that inner thigh sincerely active. That's how we find the core activation really deeply. So if you're letting your leg float out like this behind you, you're going to ditch that core activation and load your right hip. Center your body out as best as you can, keeping that left inner thigh aligned with the seam of your pants, and that's going to get you into that opposite waistline. Let's go for 2 more here. I know they're awful. I know. This is going to be the last one. We're exhaling. The inner thigh is actively bringing it in. Right waistline is stabilizing. Inhale as you bring it all the way back out with control. Tip your body upright. Stay here. We're going to float both heels up and off the floor. We're going to bend both knees about halfway. Holding here, guys. Arms go up and out. Isometric challenge. Think about how the waistline is stabilizing on the narrow base that you are on. So you should feel the waistline really active and maybe tingling as we hold our body upright for 4, for 3, this is 2, and arms reach down, both heels come down to the floor. Nice. Let's go ahead and go into that Wunda twist on the other side. So we're going to bring our hands back onto the mat, 4 inches apart, parallel with our feet, and we're going to cross the left foot in front of the right. Straight away, we have the pelvis tipped to the side of the mat and the shoulders forward. We're going to do it in reverse on this side. We're going to do full range of movement first. We're going to inhale as we swivel up and back, and then we're going to exhale as we unwind. So I'm flipping the breath pattern on you. I'm also changing up the range of movement. So really think about it on your end. Keep working on your end. Think about the pelvis as that initiator of the movement. So you're bringing the left hip up and back. You can think of a fishing hook on that left sitting bone, lengthening and reaching you up and back. That's an exhale today. And then we're inhaling, unwinding to the twisted plank position. The shoulders will move. You're gonna shift your weight back in this orientation. Let's do 2 more, and then we're gonna go into the little mini version. Inhaling, lengthening up and back, dragging through the pelvis. The outer thighs are drawing in like bookends. Inhale to unwind. And we're gonna go into 1 more. Holding in that twisted plank orientation. Hold, magnetize those outer thighs. Little lift, up and back. It's tiny. Little lift, up and back. So that should really activate, guys. Keep going on your end. That should really activate through the low abdominals. You should feel a deep low belly connection that's toning and stabilizing and helping improve functionality of the whole body. Let's go for 3 more here, gang. I love these. And I also hate them. I'm with you. Last 2, tiny movement. This is the last one. And go ahead and bring both knees down. I'm gonna have us go into a plank on our forearms. So bring your elbows down onto the mat. I like a box shape. You can also choose a triangle if that feels better for your body. And we're gonna step the feet all the way back into our forearm plank. You might notice straight away that what happens when we take away the arms is we have a deeper core connection. So it's tricky and it's counterintuitive because you think, oh, up on the arms is the most challenging way. But I actually find that this is tremendously wicked by being down on the forearms. Let's go for 8. Stay with me for 7. Navel up and in for 6. Collarbones are wide. Heart is between the shoulder blades. Last 3. This is 2. Don't go anywhere. Bring your right knee down and flip your foot under. Left knee down, flip your foot under. Lower the pelvis down. You should still be finding intense challenge here. Now we've taken away those long levers. Now only our core is responsible for holding us up. Last 8, collarbones wide. Last 7. This is 6. Draw the navel up and in between those shoulder blades for 4, 3, 2, and come all the way back. Nice work, you guys. Let's stand on our feet again to hit that eaves lunge on the other side. So we did the right foot last time. This time left foot goes on the floor. And we're gonna imagine that our right foot is on the carriage. I want that split stance, get started if you know it. I want that split stance to look like this rather than this. So don't go against your imaginary shoulder block. I really like that big toe on the edge of the carriage. That's how we find the inner thigh, deep abdominal connection. So we're gonna have a bend to the knee, a bow forward, and we're gonna float that right leg back behind us. And then on the exhale, inner thigh and psoas, draw the leg in. Inhale, inner thigh and hamstrings, back side of the leg, send it back out. I'm gonna touch onto that wall for a little balance support. Some days you need it, some days you don't. So pay attention to your body and honor what's going on with you today. We're inhaling with intention. We're never just swinging that leg forth and back. We're resisting it like we're dragging a carriage in, and resisting it like we've got that spring fighting us, sending it back out. Your arm can always go up and out, but melt that shoulder blade down if you've chosen that option. Make sure your left knee is aligned, big toe, second toe. I like to think about stretching that femur bone as I work in a lunge orientation. Inhaling back as the leg goes long. Exhale as we draw it in. We're gonna go for 2 more here. Exhale as we bend. Last one on the inhale. We're gonna go into a plie next. Exhale, bring it in. We're going into that standing lunge before we go into the plie. So bring the right foot back, hands on the hips or overhead. Rise onto the balls of both feet. Bend both knees about halfway. We're not super low, we're not super high. We're in that shaky, shaky mid-range. Arms go up and overhead. Plug the arms down into the middle back as the navel draws up and in. Let's go for 5. Try to find that core, really working to find your stabilization. Last 2. And with intention, heels go down and rise on up. Okay guys, let's go into a plie sequence. I'm gonna ask you to be about shoulder width distance today. So we're in a wider stance, and aim to match the width of your shoulders, okay? When we say plie, that means we're gonna keep the torso upright. So as we soften the knees and crease at the hips, we're keeping the sternum over the pubic bone. And then we're gonna inhale as we lengthen back up. Let's add the arms. We're gonna exhale, arms go up as we soften the knees, keeping the torso upright. Inhale, arms go down like you're sending your arms through peanut butter. I prefer almond butter, you do you. You can imagine molasses, whatever you like. Marshmallow fluff, you pick, but something that is not easy to imprint through. I want you to find those arms very active. So we're lifting up through that almond butter, and we're sending the arms down through the almond butter. We're also bending our knees through the almond butter. So everything should have a lot of resistance. It shouldn't look like this, right? It shouldn't just be kind of a bounce and the arms flailing around. We really want to find that intention and that internal resistance inside your body. Should feel shaky. You should feel really deep activation through the middle back and the triceps as the arms go behind you. Hold the next one with the knees and bent and the arms raised. We're going to peel the left heel up off the floor about halfway without lifting up the belt line, and then imprint it back down. Again, left heel peels up via the left inner thigh and imprint it back down. Check that your navel's up and in between the shoulder blades. Right heel picks up and imprint it back down. You've got a really cold jar of almond butter now. And we're gonna pick the right heel up again. And we're sending that heel down with intention. Okay guys, left heel. Pick it up. Tailbone stays quiet. Belt line stays quiet as you send it down. Right heel, pick it up. Keep the torso quiet except for that breath and send it back down. Right heel again. I'm making sure you're paying attention. I know it's Friday. I know we got quarantine brains, so do I. Pay attention. We've got the left heel picking back up. Keep your mind in your body. Right heel picks up and imprint it back down. Left heel picks up and imprint it back down. Bonus round, both heels pick all the way up. Find about halfway. Find a place where you find your shake. Take the arms out to a wide V. Lower the heels, bend the knees a little more deeply as the torso lowers. Plug the arms into the middle back for 5, for 4, for 3, for 2 with intention. Heels lower down. Inhale, gather, and rise all the way up. Okay, gang, let's go into a 4-point kneeling position. We're gonna do some leg reaches in that orientation. The idea is to find our diagonal sling, how one hip and thigh talks to the opposite waistline. So let's find that together. Hands go shoulder width distance on the mat. Knees are 4 inches apart, parallel. You always have the option to keep your knees down. I'm gonna teach it with knees up for additional challenge, but if that's aggressive, knees stay down. Here we go. On your inhale, broaden the collarbones, lengthen the spine. On your exhale, float the knees up and off the floor at about ankle height. We're gonna inhale, think about the left waistline talking to the right inner thigh to send the right leg outbound. Exhale as you bring it in. Shoulders didn't move. Right waistline tucks to the left inner thigh, send the leg out. Inhale as you extend, exhale as you bring it back in. Again, left waistline, right inner thigh, stabilizing the pelvis to keep it quiet as we inhale to extend, exhale, bring it in. Left inner thigh talks to the right waistline, pelvis stays quiet. Inhale as you extend, exhale as we bring it in. Find breath in the elbows, find the heart between the shoulder blades. The right leg is reaching out. Bring it in towards the center line of the body a little bit. See if you can find the inner thigh even more deeply. Inhale as we extend that left leg. Exhale, bring it in. Good news, guys, last time on the right. Reach it out and hold for 5. Bring it in towards the midline of the body for 4, 3, 2. Bring that right leg down. Last time, left side. Reach that left leg long. Bring it a little bit closer to the midline of the body for 3, for 2. Bring the knees down. From here, extend straight into your downward facing dog Take a nice deep breath, stretching through the back line of the body. Open up the heart. You can walk your hands out a little bit if you need to. Take a nice deep breath here. And we're gonna bend the right knee, picking it up, opening the hips, stretching through the side body. The reason, guys, I like to keep this leg bent is because I feel like it gives the stretch more deeply to the hip and the core. And when I extend this leg outbound like this, I feel that it starts to put a little more pressure in the low back. So I would encourage you to keep the knee bent, unless you prefer it with the leg extended. If that feels good to you, that's always an option. All right, we're gonna bend the left knee a lot, rotate the hips open, take a nice deep breath here, melting the right heel down. Bring both feet back to the mat. Finish with your downward facing dog. Reaching the hips up and back, looking back between the ankles. One more beautiful inhale here, gratitude for your healthy body. And exhale, draw both knees to the floor. Beautiful work, my friends. I so needed that today. Thank you so very much for joining me.